कुछ भी सीखा गलतियों से ही तो सीखा मैंने खुद को संभाला गिर के ही तो उठना सीखा मैंने जब भी बिखरी तो बिखर के सिमटना सीखा मैंने.
All right, we're back in it with Ms. Marvel, episode 2. Crushed, I guess, is this one. Fitting title. Okay, I'm trying to remember how this stupid thing starts. So last we saw, she kind of got her powers at the end of the first episode, and I was worried about the direction they were taking. And after episode 2, I can firmly say I fucking hate the direction they're taking with her powers.
She's just Green Lantern.
I really hate it a lot. Which is a bummer, because I really like everything else.
Yeah.
Let's just jump right to the power stuff, because we'll talk about like the episode stuff as well after, but how do you feel about her being kind of shitty Green Lantern?
Oh, I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Okay.
I at least know what they're doing with it. Or like, I feel like I get what they're doing in terms of lore stuff, but practically I don't. I'm not a fan.
So what are your thoughts on what they're doing?
That she's gonna be like part Kree or something. Like it's gonna tie her more directly to Captain Marvel. Cause like the gauntlet is unlocking her powers, but it's still coming from within her. Is the thing they say in this episode. So and like the stuff with like, you know, her grandmother or whatever, like disappearing or whatever. Like that's Kree shit. Like that's what's
Kree
happening.
Shit, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So instead of being an Inhuman, she's just gonna be Kree. Which like I'm fine with. I just wish her powers were her powers more than anything, and I wish it wasn't like making hard light with her will, like she was Green Lantern.
Yeah. I was having a discussion with somebody. I honestly can't remember who, but their assumption was because they don't want to like upstage Mr. Fantastic or whatever when they introduce him with like Ms. Marvel doing it already and maybe better. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I really think it's one of those like we're Disney. We still have a budget for the TV stuff. Yeah. Like we can't put in $20 million on like 10 seconds of awesome CG animation of her stretching around on this thing that some people might not even watch that we give out for free on our thing.
I think they were worried with how it was going to look.
Yeah. They couldn't get it to look right or something.
Yeah.
Because there definitely are every now and then a couple parts where you see her fist grow large because she's doing like a cosmic hard light fist or something.
Yeah.
And that makes me believe that is a holdover of them trying to animate her fist getting real big. And it didn't look right. So then they just put on a filter on it.
I don't know. I feel like it's them like gesturing at what her comic book powers is for fans as much as anything.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just a happy accident or something. It's probably nothing. Honestly, knowing how companies are, it's probably nothing either way. It's probably not an homage and it's probably not a mess up. It's just something they did. I hate it. I really hate the power stuff. It works in this episode for what she does, which is essentially the human version of saving a cat from a tree.
Yeah, I mean, she's not doing a lot of superheroing yet also.
Yeah, which makes sense because she's a stupid kid that is trying to figure out what the fuck she can do. So it's bad form to have her fight Thanos right now, theoretically anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I really just wanted to bitch about that to start. I really don't like.
It's a bummer the way they're doing her powers. I don't like it.
I absolutely hate it.
I'm just annoyed, but yeah.
Yeah. Everything else I really like. So last time we talked, about we don't think that they're going to go kind of the social angle on stuff, and I think we were kind of wrong. They went
totally.
further into it than I thought.
No, they like basically the stuff that I like saw missing from the first comic in the episode 1 from issue 1 of Miss Marvel was in episode 2.
Okay.
Like basically like the key stuff that I saw was missing, like a scene at the mosque where they're in like the segregated women's section was like a big thing that stuck out to me. It's in episode 2. Like they just held it. They pushed it so they could do that Avengers Con shit. And now we're getting it in episode 2.
Sure.
Which is fine.
Her friend Nakia is great.
Yes.
I like the whole kind of subplot of her running for what is she running for? Like chairman of something or other. I don't remember the specifics.
I think that's all new to the show.
Yeah. Just kind of like trying to maybe it all stems from that scene.
From later in the comic I never get to. I'm not 100% on that.
Sure. It stems from that scene we're talking about though, where just being kind of sick of like, I don't know, the men's section is nice or whatever, and like they can see the dude and all that sort of stuff, and like maybe you should run for office or whatever, be some real change. And there's some good stuff there, but the real good stuff is how she's campaigning and kind of being a little dirty about it. I really liked it.
Oh man, when she convinces fucking Kamala's dad to vote for her against his best friend, that's so good. And fucking like, oh man.
Oh yeah, it's so good. Just taking the dagger out or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, that part is great. Even right before that, they like, I don't know, talking with the food truck guy, the food wagon guy, just being like, okay, but I want to be the only caterer for like all the festivals or whatever like that. I really like kind of just like the shady dealings that aren't like terrible in this because it's still fun, but like, yeah, I like that stuff a lot. And the different groups, I like the Illuminantes. That is great.
It's so funny.
The Illuminantes is absolutely fantastic. Just a group of the older women that gossip and like talk about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that absolutely fantastic.
That shit's great.
So good.
Yeah, everything about like the community stuff. It's just really good. And it was the thing I was like really thought wasn't going to be in the show, so it was I was pleasantly surprised to get all that shit.
Yeah, they even make mention. So the oh my god, what are they called? The United States like Department of Cleanup, Homeland Cleanup, or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about? The one that not Falcon. What the fuck is Michael Keaton's character again?
He was the Vulture.
Yeah, his company or whatever, right? The one that like cleans up after messes or whatever, or whatever. The cops in this version. Damage Control. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name. Yeah. I really like that they're kind of like trying to figure out who this hard light character that happened at AvengerCon, like who she is or what's going on with that. There's like a part where they are kind of trying to get out of the one kind of gossipy, like Insta bitch girl or whatever, some information. And they kind of get out that this person might be like more ethnic or whatever. So they're like, go like check out blah, 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 blah in the mosques. There's like a little line in there that's like, the FBI already have them monitored or something. It's just like, oh shit, they actually are going into like some of that stuff too. Yeah. There's like, it's surprisingly decent social commentary going on in a show that you and I both agreed was definitely not going to do that last time. So that's just super cool that that's in there. I think it's important too.
And it's like the thing that you get to happen because like the original comic, the writer was Pakistani. The director on this show is Pakistani. Like,
yeah,
they're just like the creators who are working on this stuff like fucking know, so they can get that shit in there and fight for that shit to be in there. That's that's just like smart to
It's
like
so
actually have the people who experience that culture write about it and make stuff about it.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm a big fan of that sort of stuff. Not growing up even I went to a like primarily Eastern Indian, like white people were like the minority in the school I went to, but like I was really good friends with a coworker who was Indian for a long time. So like that's kind of, I really like a lot of that culture and that stuff is being like showcased here in a way that I think is absolutely fantastic, and kind of the way I learned it too when in like my late teens, early 20s for many years, and just kind of like I kind of like that there's a show like using like beta or whatever to like indicate the like, or like the family, like Ami and Abu and stuff like that. I don't know. I really like that shit, and that's kind of like becoming just in. This is a good way to get kids to learn about that stuff, and maybe like in a more positive light, because East Indian people have had a rough go of things due to some real shitters in their nationalities in the world stage. So I really like that this sort of stuff is there, and I think that's super important. Because I definitely, growing up, did not have that sort of thing. I grew up in a primarily white school and white city, and like I think it's just super important to be friends with and meet people of different cultures and stuff like that. And unfortunately, if you can't do that in real life, this is kind of a good way to do it too. Just being introduced into that stuff and just like, I don't know, seeing them as normal people. You know what I mean? And not like just how the media portrays people.
Yeah.
Which is great. They're not played as a joke. They're just like normal people, but there's still jokey things in there. Like my Indian friend, dude, he like made fun of the fact that he was Indian all the time and like brown, and like made fun of white people. Like that shit happens. And I like the whole part where she's having lunch with Kamran in this, and she like makes him pretend that they're cousins or lost cousins, that he's in for the wedding. He does like this weird accent change or whatever. There's just some really good like bits in here that I think
when he changes from like a British accent to a Pakistani accent,
just like a cliched Pakistani accent. Yeah. There's some, this is what I found interesting too. There is a great part where they're talking about how the British fucked everything up in India.
Yeah.
And that is insane, because nobody ever fucking talks about that shit. That's awesome, because and
it's like built into like when also the important thing in the past happened in the show. Like that's where the Bengal is like tied to that period.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
It's just well done.
It's super well done. And just super important in a way that I wasn't expecting this kind of like fun romp in the kid's life becoming a superhero to be. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's stuff that's like, you know, there's a bunch of that stuff. That's why the original comic one was so good. And like, I just didn't expect it to make it to the fucking TV shows, because this shit so often gets watered down.
Totally. Yeah. I haven't looked about this episode, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was also review bombed for that very reason. But whatever.
Sure.
Let haters be haters. We should talk about Kamran, because he's pretty important. And we find out like later he's very important in what's going on here. So when they kind of introduce him as like the hot Indian guy, or like whatever her interest, I was like, oh, snore. Like, come on, you're really doing this. But I like that right away. He's like just kind of a cool guy, even though he doesn't seem to remember Bruno's name or care. That's kind of douchey, but like seems like a nice guy. I like that they have that conversation in the car where they're talking about Bollywood like movies and actors or whatever. Like I think those two just have a really good chemistry together, the two actors. So I really like them talking to each other and playing off of each other in general. Then we find out that he like saves her kind of at the end as she's being picked up by Department of Damage Control, and his mom is I don't remember who she is. His mom's important. She's the one that she's been seeing, right?
Yeah.
Did they give her a name? That's what I'm trying to remember.
Aisha?
Is it? Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. It might be. Anyways,
That's it.
it kind of ends with like her being like, holy shit, it's you. And him saying like, yeah, that's my mom. It credits.
Yeah.
So we'll get more information about them and her. Obviously, they know what's going on. And obviously, Cameron was probably planted there to like get her or something, or like bring her into something. I don't know. It's exciting either way that things are finally starting to build up, because it kind of felt like she was just this. It felt like this whole show was going to be her trying to learn how to use her shitty powers. And I'm glad that they're like kicking it into gear on episode 2, where some of the other shows maybe didn't kick in until episode 4. Yeah, I don't know. In general, just still really fun style to it. The like kinetic, cartoony animation stuff in the background, the texting in the like background stuff, I really love still. Just super fun to watch as a visual thing.
The characters are like fun and just like hanging out and watching it.
Totally, yeah. She seems to be able to control when she needed to, it seems like she was able to control it a little bit better when she's saving the kid. Like, not really at first, but when things started getting dire and the kid was like actually falling and she had to run to like get to him, like it just seemed like a natural thing or whatever. So she's obviously getting better with her shitty powers, even though they're like overtaking her. Like her nose started glowing at one part and she had to run into the bathroom.
She was having superpower puberty.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you knew anything about what that is. If that's like...
that just feels like,
just like teenager
this character should be
thing.
an X-Man, and like being a mutant is tied into puberty. I don't know. It like just extremely felt like that to me. Also, when her friend offers her a tampon, just like, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, makes sense, because she just kind of ran out of there into the bathroom and then locked herself in. So,
yep.
Like, what else would a normal human being think? Yeah. I like the mom in this one. I don't know, she seemed a little more understanding or whatever. She let her go to that party, but obviously with like stipulations.
She did let her go to the party.
Seemed kind of weird, right? Especially how they ended off the last one.
Because in the comic, since there's no Avenger Con, it was literally a party that she was not allowed to go to. And that bit of like the first, she like gets there and immediately she gets offered a drink, and then afterwards is like told that there's alcohol in it. And then she's like, "Am I drunk?"
Yeah, I thought that part was cute. That was funny.
Yeah,
that was
in
good.
the comic.
Yeah, that's
It's
good.
so weird.
That
Like,
was
there's way more direct stuff from a comic in this that I'm used to in MCU shit.
Oh, probably
like,
the TV stuff specifically, even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like any of it. Like, I don't know. So like
that is kind of interesting.
It's using way more like directly from that original series.
I guess, like, why not, right? Like, people like it. Why wouldn't you? Also, it makes your job a little bit easier, frankly, if you're a writer, to fill some time.
Yeah, like this shit is good. Why not just use it?
Totally, yeah. I really like her brother. I think he's fun. I I don't know about like this whole weird
his
him
goth
and his
face.
his goth face where he worked at Hot Topic.
He's like, it wasn't a goth face. I just wore a lot of black. Okay.
He had a choker. Yeah, that was a good gag.
That was so funny.
That was a great gag. Yeah. That family just feels like a fun family. Like the way they play off each other and act together and stuff. That just seems like a fun family. Until you mentioned the grandmother, and then mom gets extremely serious. Yeah.
It's honestly
Bruno has
weird because, like, then why did you give Kamala the bangle?
Right. Yeah. That's weird.
That felt a little contrived.
Totally. Like she has to have the bangle, so we're gonna give it to her, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway. Bruno's a genius and got into, what was it, MIT or something? I can't remember. Like a tech school, essentially, to finish off, I don't know, his studies, or like start college early. I couldn't tell what exactly was going on, but I guess he's like
basically starting college early.
I guess he's like just not going to take it because he's in love with Kamala or something.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, is that a thing in like the comics? It's just like her best friend in love with her or something? Is this like a TV?
Not from what I remember. That, like, I didn't read. I didn't get deep enough in the run because, like,
yeah,
that was like it started pretty shortly before I burned out on comics and kind of dropped everything for a while.
Yeah, so, like 6 years ago, right?
Yeah. It's like I got the first few issues of this and was like, this is great, but I was like burned out on fucking anything.
Totally, I get it.
So like, because like I know Cameron is in the comic, but he doesn't show up till like issue 13 or something. And so there's like way more like actual superhero stuff that's not in the show is like the next stuff that's happened. So there's like no room for, there's like no romance stuff in anything I read.
Yeah. So the reason why I kind of ask and why I kind of assumed you would say that is because this feels kind of like a contrived teen drama shit that they added in.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it fits to me. I don't know. It doesn't feel like in the first episode. Obviously, they care about each other. It never felt like it was a romance thing between them to me, I guess. Mm-hmm. Until now. And like it felt not like it came out of left field, but I don't know. That it just
felt like
doesn't
contrived
belong.
TV drama.
It totally does, yeah. Because there's the weird like posturing in front of Cameron and just being like, I like that guy too, or like, I don't know.
Like I wish, like so much of the rest of the show is just like people being humans. This is people being TV characters.
Yeah, not to say like I don't know, 16-year-old kids or whatever don't get jealous or whatnot, but I don't know. I guess it just fell out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's the specific way it's executed is so cliche.
Yeah. Maybe I missed something in the first, like maybe that was always there and I just kind of overlooked it. A lot of shit has been going on and like there could have been an underline like, oh yeah, no, he was obviously into her from the minute you saw them together. It's like, sure, you might be right. But I didn't pick up on it until this episode and it felt like weirdly out of place in a way that nothing else has necessarily. And frankly, I kind of just don't care about Bruno at all in this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about geeky white guy. Like, sorry, MCU has been doing geeky white guy in fucking everything. Like, what I care about are this Pakistani family and them doing weird politics about running the mosque or whatever the fuck she's running for. That's what I care about. I kind of don't even care about the superhero part right now, if I'm going to be real with you.
But yeah, I think like after this setup, it's just like straight to like her going to save Lockjaw from some like group and like meeting Wolverine.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. How weird would it be if in the next episode, like, it just ends with like Wolverine stepping into the screen and then cutting to credits or whatever?
That'd be so fucking funny. Everyone would love it though. Everybody loves Wolverine.
I mean, I love Wolverine. So I don't know. I like, you're still invested, right? I'm still super invested in this, but
yeah,
I don't know.
It's gonna be very hard to make me care about Kree shit.
Yeah, especially in a TV show. Like, I don't know.
Like, I like Carol Danvers, but that her specific ties to this alien stuff, it's like just not interesting to me.
Do you
Like, I
care
don't
about the
care.
MCU Carol Danvers, though? Do you care about this Ms. Marvel that exists? Because I kind of don't.
Yeah, I mean the movie about her was not very good.
The best part of that movie
But,
about
like,
her
the
was
thing
reliving the
that's-
90s.
The thing that's cool about her is just like she's just incredibly powerful. So when she shows up and is just incredibly powerful, it's pretty cool. When she blows up that ship in Endgame, but
It's also incredibly boring.
sure.
Like, yeah, she's on screen, so now we win. Like, great. I don't know. The thing is I kind of don't care about Kamala's powers right now either. I kind of care about those people and her being a person. So I hope they change my mind. I would care about the powers if they were right and not shitty Green Lantern. Maybe that's just me.
I mean, I care more about the other Captain Marvel, like Monica Rambeau, who's in WandaVision, than I care about
Dude. Yes. No, for real. Like,
Carol Danvers.
yeah. I mean, Carol Danvers is just Superman. They'll use her when they need the god to come down and win the day when everything else fails. And that's fine, I guess. But yeah, I care about Monica. I care about real Ms. Marvel if they ever get to that point. So that'll be cool. Hopefully. I don't know, man. I'm
I
so
think
interested.
Everything would be like, there's no way this stuff about aliens is gonna match up to what if just Lockjaw were in this show. What if we just had a big dog who could teleport, though? He's great. He's big and he's a dog.
Like, I guess I don't know, like, what train of thought you're on, because there's no way Lockjaw is in this show, ever.
Well, it's just because he's in I was just looking at the first volume of the comic book and seeing all the
Gotcha.
Lockjaw in it. I'm like...
Gotcha, okay. Yeah, because I'm just like, what is he on? There's no way they're putting him in this.
No, there's no way. But, you know, that was her, like, original story. Saving
Although...
Lockjaw.
Loki went to a weird place with some of his variants, so you never know, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, this specific space shit is some of the most boring stuff in the Marvel universe to me. Like,
The Kree stuff?
period. The Kree stuff, yeah. Like,
Was
just
it always, like... I don't know. Were you not kind of stoked when they started that stuff in, like, Guardians 1?
Well, so there's like some of the space stuff that I do like, which is like the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Annihilation Wave.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of it that I just find a lot of the rest of it I find incredibly boring.
Sure.
Like, anytime the X-Men are out in space dealing with the Shi'ar, or like Cyclops' secret third brother Vulcan, I'm like, this is the most boring shit in the world.
Sure.
This is like a way to like separate the X-Men from what makes them interesting.
Sure.
So I don't know. Like, we just like their relationship to the world. So
Yeah. Like the whole Korean scroll thing. I mean, that's where we're going though, right? Like that's going to be
Yes.
the big thing. So
Yeah.
I guess we
And
gotta
I-
buckle in.
And I don't find that as interesting as a conflict that's more rooted in Earth
No, I totally agree.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
Which
I think
is
that's
weird.
my main thing.
Because-
like,
yeah.
you know, so much of Kamala, of what's good about this show is the way in which it's grounded in the community. But
Yeah.
then she's just going to go off into space, and it's like all her like community is like aliens. Like that hits less home for me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing, and this is kind of why I dislike is too strong of a word. I started to kind of get off board with what they were doing with Spider-Man. Is the reason I like Spider-Man is because he's web slinging around New York fighting crime, and it like escalates, but never to like. I don't like when they start doing anything in space generally, but I also want to see them do cosmic giant shit eventually in like that doesn't involve these like I just want to see Galactus. Like I want to see real big dumb universal cosmic shit happen, but I don't want it to be at the expense of having good characters on the ground level doing like little human things still. I don't want them all to be space being gods in the end.
The thing is, I like the Kree Skrull War is like not big enough. I need like I need like literally like cosmic gods, like or like the annihilation wave, like a swarm of bugs that is going to devour literally everything. Like I need it to be on a bigger scale rather than just these two groups who are at war, because you could do two groups who are at war on Earth.
Right. And like
And it would
arguably
be
that's
more interesting if it were on Earth. Like that separation makes that idea less interesting.
and arguably that's what Eternals fucked up, because that was the entrance into like doing celestial stuff, and they kind of fucked it up a bit.
Sure.
So I don't know. Yeah, if you're not gonna do celestials and like the giant annihilation event type stuff, give me Kamala like, I don't know, hanging out with her friends and trying to figure out her powers. That doesn't
Yeah.
get bigger. Give me Spider-Man stopping, I don't know, Tombstone or something. Like, give me the small stories that kind of have a more personal feel in some way. That's what I want from this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when this show is the best, when it does that.
Yes. So like having that this build the stuff they're building, I find way less interesting than what's happening in the moment.
Totally.
Sure.
Yeah. It
Which
fills
honestly
me a
the
little bit.
opposite of the way MCU shows go a lot of the time. So
Totally. Yeah, I mean,
that.
WandaVision wasn't that. WandaVision, I wanted to see where the weird thing was going, and I don't know, it kind of paid off. Not in that show, but in the way that they treated Wanda later. I won't say more because you still need to see that movie, I believe.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm optimistic because there are things I really like about this show, but I'm a little bit nervous because I feel like there's a few missteps in here that could really ruin my enjoyment of what they're doing with it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like as long as, you know, Kamal's a good character, like that's primarily what I care about, really. So
And Amon is still great. Like every time she's on
tremendous.
screen, it's just like, yeah, she's great. She's fantastic. So hopefully they just keep up with that. I was going to ask you one more thing before like I'm out for stuff to talk about with this one. Let's do the Jersey City check-in. Was there any good representation or places that you recognized?
nope.
Okay. I figured, but I figure I'm going to probably ask you every time just to see, because it's very rare
Honestly,
that we have a conversation that like somebody's on the ground level.
Yeah. Honestly, the Bon Jovi pulls in this felt so generic to me. And
Yeah,
not
I
like,
forgot all about
actually, that's not really, that's like Jersey. That's not as much a Jersey City thing.
Yeah, because you guys are more like almost like a New York borough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like both
like
my
more than you are.
parents commuted to Manhattan like when I was a kid. Like that was where they worked.
Like you're almost like, what's that shithole nobody likes? Oh my God. What's that shitty borough that nobody likes?
Staten Island.
Yeah, you're kind of like the better Staten Island, right? That's always what I've assumed.
It's like easier to get to Manhattan from Jersey City than Staten Island, basically, yeah.
And theoretically, you weren't originally a giant dump, right?
I think this whole area was, I think like everything here was swamp. So
Well, the way you've talked about like
Manhattan was like literally a dump. Manhattan
I was gonna
Island
say.
is extended physically as an island by building on trash. That was how they did that.
I was gonna say, and just the way you talk about like how people treat garbage and rats and stuff, it just sounds like that whole city is a dump in its own way.
Yeah, I mean, Manhattan has very tiny sidewalks, and when it's trash night, they are like primarily taken up with garbage. So
Yeah, sure. Fair enough. Okay, that's all I have for
but
this.
also, like, you know, Jersey City has changed. When my parents moved here, the waterfront was like wild dogs lived there, and now it's like all skyscrapers. So
The waterfront was water back then. Now it's McDonald's wrappers.
yeah.
All right, cool. Anything else to add about this? Because I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it.
Yeah. I feel like I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm waiting for the next episode before I really start getting worried because I still had a decent enough time. But yeah, I need to see where this thing goes at this point for me.
I'm ready to see like Kamala like punch someone or something. I'm ready for like superhero stuff to happen.
Yeah, for her to do
of.
kind of something with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like at one point I am, and at the other point I'm like, but the MCU is like kind of never great at that stuff, also, and like it's better at doing the character stuff, but also,
Sure. Yeah.
in my bones, I like to see superheroes do superhero stuff. So I don't know.
Totally. For sure. All right, cool. Well, thanks for listening, and if you're following along as well, let us know if you have anything to add, and I don't know, the Discord and like our Twitters or whatever. I don't know if people know this. I put our Twitters on every episode in the show notes, just in case like somebody actually wanted to say something.
Yeah, sure.
Which might be a bad idea, because sometimes I don't say great things, and I don't necessarily want to hear from people who get offended about it. But whatever. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. This
Hasn't
is fine.
backfired yet.
Well, it has in the past, but like, no, not in the last like 5 years, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, it has in the past, though. All right, well, we'll see you guys next time.